Good afternoon. Hey, happy Friday.
It is.
It's a great day.
It's a happy Friday.
It's a sunny day.
I almost wore shorts again.
Supposed to heat up this weekend, and by heat up, I mean it's like 60 today. 60 degrees today.
It was 60 on the way home yesterday.
Let's go.
I rolled the window down.
Let's go. Wait, you roll the window down? Wait, when is roll down temperatures for you?
It varies on region.
Okay. Well, hi. Jeff Russ here.
Rolling down the windows.
Jeff Russ wanted to let us all know.
your boy.
He here.
Yeah. It depends on regions. Like I think I mentioned this before. It was 40 below once in North Dakota when I was stationed there. The next day it was 20.
I assume that's not window down weather.
No. But when it was 20 above the next day with a 60-degree temperature swing, I rolled the window down. It was like, it felt hot. It was such a weird thing. Like, why is my skin burning with the window down?
I wonder why they have to pay people $25 an hour to work at McDonald's in North Dakota.
That oil field money, pretty good too.
We're putting you in the drive-through.
Yeah, my goodness gracious.
But like,
almighty.
if I'm down somewhere in in Texas, it was probably like 68, 70 was probably rolled down the window.
Humidity is a big factor
Yeah,
in all that.
you got to adjust for humidity. Like Florida, man, you can roll down that window up until about 70, and then once it gets warmer than 70, the window has to stay up.
See,
to keep the AC dry.
another great thing about living in Oregon, we don't deal with humidity.
That's the great thing about Oregon. We don't get humidity and we don't get bugs.
We don't have bugs. We don't have a lot of animals that'll kill you. Don't have humidity. Got a lot of rain, but it's really not even that bad.
But so does Florida. Florida has a lot of rain too.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at this because I got this thing, and when I was throwing out all my stuff, a couple weeks back, I found this mailer from like this was back when they used to send you mail for recruiting stuff. And then when I got one from the University of Oregon, and then they found out I was like Sloan White. But it was for Oregon track.
They couldn't figure that out with the first name Dusty.
Hey, Dusty Baker exists.
But it was like I got this mailer, and this was the thing. You would get the mailers, you'd fill out the questionnaire, and then 90% of the schools you just never hear from again. They're like, yeah, okay. But I got one, and in the mailer, it had a sheet of paper. It's like, I know this, I'm from Oregon, but it was like every major city in the country and every other like track program, and it had average temperature and rainfall in each area. And it was like to highlight Eugene, Oregon gets less rain than Miami, Florida, New York City, and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that was at the time when you didn't have, I don't know, internet all over the place. Well, I guess we had internet all over the place, but it wasn't like we were just hooked to the interwebs. You had these things where you had to send out those mailers, and then they would just say, all right, I'm done with you. But that's how people learned about Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that rainy. Not that rainy anymore. So we don't get that much rain. Well,
comparatively.
A lot has changed in the 21 years since 2003.
Well, of course, we know in Eugene, too, it never rains at Autzen Stadium.
It doesn't. Or Hayward Field in this case.
Yeah.
But that is, we don't get that much rain. We just get long, extended periods of rain. And every now and then we get the atmospheric river that runs in and sucks.
I still prefer to call it a Pineapple Express. It's just more fun.
That's what they used to call them, and then they changed it?
Yeah.
Probably after the movie.
Hot damn. Yeah, that's
why
a
would
good way to do
capitalize on the movie? What are we doing here?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry to our exterminator bros. No bugs? We have lots of bugs, especially in the summer. Maybe not like the Midwest or South, but definitely got bugs. Yeah, we do. We got a lot of them. We got a lot of them. Not killer bugs, not bugs that are too big.
They don't ever overwhelm unless you have a very real problem like
they'll still bug the crap out of you, but
yeah. But otherwise, we don't.
But it's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. No, I have seen termites absolutely ruin a house though. That's wild.
Yeah, termites are a big.
That's
big
a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen what like the structure looks like after they get to it?
No.
It's
like they
nuts.
just like
Swiss cheese.
Yeah. It's like, what is like, how is a bug chewing through wood?
And then it just turns to like
mush.
mush. Yeah, like little crumbly, sawdusty stuff. Yeah, it's not good.
No.
Not good. But it's still, we're not that bad.
No.
They have those everywhere. They have those everywhere.
We do have the woodpeckers though too.
Woodpeckers are annoying.
They are super irritating. I saw one smash on a fake wood and then got through it, and it was like steel underneath. It was pretty funny to watch them.
Okay,
We'll get some directly behind our house in the green space back there, and we'll hear them, and they're loud.
Here's the thing with woodpeckers, and Pete is probably gonna jump on me for this, and probably some people on the text line. We had a woodpecker just every morning in the summer, just on the tree back behind our house, just going, waking up kids and stuff. It's just like you want those little bastards to sleep as long as they can, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I go out there and I'm picking up rocks. I'm just lobbing them at the woodpecker. Not trying to like injure him, just be like send a message, right?
Scare him away.
Send the message.
Yeah. Did he start going an hour earlier?
You know what that little SOB did? He's inching closer to the house. He was getting even closer to the house, and I'm like, damn, this is totally backfiring on me.
Did you ever contemplate the BB gun?
No. Well, no, I don't have a BB gun.
I could fix that.
Oh yeah. You could fix that. You could obviously fix that. You could give me more than just a BB gun.
We could start there. We there's a long range to work with.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to my BB guns as a kid. That's a weird thing.
Well, then after you take care of the woodpecker, he's probably got the lie and shovels for you too to hide anything.
It's okay, Danny. I'm good. I just need a shoebox here. That's all I need.
Just roll up with a wood chipper.
But he's
I
been
got
gone.
this empty 50-gallon oil drum.
Yeah.
Hey, woodpeckers go in wood chippers. Didn't you know?
Good Lord.
Fargoing birds.
Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. You can also be in the comments on youtube.com/1080am the fan. One of our texters is saying, BS, those stink bugs are becoming quite the problem. Hey, stink bugs are a problem. There's a lot more. Like, where are these little guys?
I have no idea, but when they
I don't
hatch,
remember them being
take,
this big of a problem.
They take over the whole front of my parents' house. I'm talking literal thousands.
You should move out.
No, yeah, right. I've showed up there in the summer and been like, what?
Those little things. Those are ugly
They
little
smell like
bastards.
bananas.
Ooh, that's not the smell that I get.
Oh no,
I don't mind the smell of bananas.
No, it smells like a banana.
I feel okay. Now we're going down a different path here because I have this feeling.
That must be after Danny takes the blowtorch to them.
There is no way
Just roasting them.
that I smell the same thing, taste the same thing, or see the same thing as most people. You know, like you smell bananas when
Yeah.
those things. I smell like I'll say like a really sour kind of rotting green apple is what I get out of those things when you crunch those
Good old
stink
compost
bugs.
pile. Huh?
See, I
Yeah,
was thinking like
yeah.
more like a brown banana. That's kind of like the.
Okay.
It's a sweet stink. It's not a good smell, but it's
See,
like it's
yeah.
it's definitely sweet.
I don't get that.
Really.
Nah, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. For those watching on YouTube, that giant human being that was just in this room, that's Engineer Joey.
Yes.
He's not a lumberjack cutting down trees in here. Now, he was fixing Danny's monitor. Danny broke the damn monitor before the show even started.
I did not.
So
I'm blaming Suk for this one.
that's where we're okay. That's fair either. That's fair. All right. You mentioned when windows go down. This texture is an animal. I have the heat on and windows down right now.
Oh yeah, no, I will do the exact same thing. 100%. I will turn the heat like on the little dial. I'll go like instead of like going into the heat, I'll go split the difference right in the middle, or I'll slightly go to heat with the window down. That's what I did yesterday.
I vividly remember being a kid going to like a Little League game, and it was a day like this. It was like a early spring day. We were going to a Little League game, and one of my friends, his parents had a T-top Camaro.
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah,
yeah.
But I vividly remember that the sun was out like today, and his dad was like, "No, we're going. The top is off.
Tops off.
Heat's on." And I
Yeah.
remember as a kid just being like, "This is kind of cold."
The tops are coming off, baby.
Top's coming off in the heat. We're gonna blast the heat because the sun was out. And when you live in Oregon, you got weather like this, and you got a car like that. You got to take advantage of it when you can.
I had a 91 Camaro Z28 with T-tops. The funny thing about those,
That's not surprising one bit.
it's long
With
story.
your puka shells and your spiked hair,
It
I
had-
could see it. I could see you were wearing wife beaters driving that thing around.
ma-
Not white. You were in a black wife beater with your puka shells, spiked hair.
Yeah. It's
How
a
off
little
am
too
I?
long. No, you're There's literal pictures.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I haven't seen them either. I know this.
The funny thing is though, like T-tops were the car was cool, but it's like to take the T-tops off, you have to like stop the car, get out of the car, like physically remove them and like put them in the the little tiny trunk space that you have, and they are heavy as hell.
Yeah.
Like it's like the whole idea of like, oh, T-tops are rad. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but if all of a sudden the weather changes, it's not like you're like pushing a button.
No.
You're kind of screwed. You got to find cover.
It's like putting a 737 door plug back on top of the car.
Yes, exactly. That's the same idea of what that is. But I say this from experience of it being a really nice day, and then all of a sudden the rain coming down. It's not as bad as being on a boat. I had a jet boat growing up because my dad was a skier, and did about 70 on the water. And when the
Seems too fast.
it's
to water
70
ski
on the
behind.
water, you go pretty quick when you're water skiing. Not that fast, but you do go pretty quick. But 70 on the water is insane. Like that's crazy fast on the water. And it started to rain one summer day, and the rain hitting your face with no windshield at like 60, 65, it feels like you're just being shot in the face with a BB gun over and over and over again.
Okay. Hey, just throwing this out there.
Hmm.
You don't need to go 65.
Well, it was raining really hard, so the question was like, do you get absolutely soaked? And
It kind of sounds like that's the answer there.
yeah,
I mean, you're in a boat.
it's a long drive, open engine.
Yeah, I
not
think that
great.
you probably just slow it down a little bit and you don't get pelted by the rain.
We got back to the dock, and your face was just lit up red. Good times. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, that's a Camaro and a jet boat all in the same general area.
This text nails you right now. This is high school Danny. Danny going to Flavortown pretending he's Smokey and the Bandit. T-Top,
Just need my Sally Fields.
Guy Fieri, and Burt Reynolds just meshed into one, and that's Danny Meringue in high school.
Well, the problem is back then I couldn't grow any facial hair. I had zero facial hair back then. Negative facial hair.
Man,
I always wanted it when I was younger, and then now I'm like, managing it's not fun.
All right.
Look at you. For all everybody who watching on 10 the Fan YouTube and Twitch, Dusty's still
going
facially hair adorned.
Yeah. I'm just
It's like the longest you ever had it, isn't it?
It is the longest in my life. Yeah, we're almost at 2 months, and then not next week, the week after, it's gonna be coming off.
It's getting comfortable, isn't it?
No.
No.
That's 2 months for you.
Yeah,
Jeff, let him have this one, Jeff.
No, this is fair.
Let him have this.
This is fair.
This was last Thursday.
That looks about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could have that, but this is the I've always been told, just let it go and it will fill in. It has a little bit. It has a little bit.
Genuinely has.
It has a little bit.
And
it's not nearly as offensive.
You haven't oiled it at all.
No, I don't. I'm not going to spend money on that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because it's going to be gone real soon.
You're never going to bring it back?
There will. Yeah, I will. It will. It'll come back next fall.
Is the wife allowing it, or is she okay with it?
She's
Is she
not a
accepting
fan of it.
No,
She's not. No, I don't think anybody's a fan of this.
It's a good look.
But it's I'm going for the stash. We'll have stash. We'll have stash first week of March.
Okay.
That first week of March, we're going
March
stash.
Madness stash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go stash, and it's gonna look super creepy.
I like it.
Super creepy.
They'll confuse which one of us is actually the killer.
And then I was looking at I'm we're watching.
No, we'll still know that. It's supposed to be one killer, one pedo.
Wow.
Whoa.
That
Fair.
sounds like a podcast.
It's very fair. That's gonna get a lot of downloads. That one.
You're not wrong.
There's gonna be a lot of people just like, I gotta listen to this at least once.
This is that season 5 of True Detective.
Yeah.
One killer, one pedo.
We're watching. We're doing a rewatch of Ted Lasso, and then all of a sudden, as I was sitting there going like thinking about first week of March going stash, I think Ted Lasso may be the play next year, Halloween. I think Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
I think a Ted Lasso is way to go. And that show, have you rewatched Ted Lasso at all?
I have not. That's actually in the queue because I started to watch a little bit of season 2 because I still haven't finished it.
Oh,
And I was like, I don't remember everything from season 1. So I'm
it's
gonna
really
go back. I'm just gonna go back and rewatch it.
the amazing part is that you find Easter eggs in season 1 that when they wrap everything up at the end, season 1 and season 3 are very connected all the way through. And it's I was really surprised about it. Like the character development and all that stuff. They knew exactly where they were going with everybody
From
right
the
out the
jump.
gate. And usually in shows,
It's adapt and run
it
and
is,
change.
and that's why they always said this is a 3-season show, because they knew right where they wanted to go, where they wanted to stick the landing at. Don't think they did it at the end, but you could see all of the character development throughout it. And the only reason why I'm watching rewatching Ted Lasso is because I'm watching Masters of the Air.
Have you started watching it?
Dude. Yeah, well, I'm caught up in everything.
That's this weekend. That's I told my wife that's the show I'm watching this because
that show kicks ass. If
Look,
you don't watch it, it's on Apple TV.
It's on Apple TV. It's by the same group that made the Pacific and Band of Brothers, Spielberg, Tom Hanks, and
really damn good.
Yeah, I'm very, 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 very interested in this. Tell me this: is it done? Well,
is it done? What?
Is it done in the same style, like where it's like using actual people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
I'm in. 100% in.
Well, like the yeah. But you know it. They have like the narrator. Have you seen any of it? None?
No.
Okay. They have like the one narrator voice, kind of who's weaving the story together. He's like the navigator. He's a real person.
Gotcha.
So then they go obviously, and they fluff up a lot and drag you down a lot. But it is really damn good. Really good.
Have you had your heart completely ripped out yet?
Yes, several
Awesome.
times.
Perfect.
Several times.
That's what I'm here for.
And they do Austin Butler, may be like one of my new go-to actors. I think he's really good.
He did something else big too.
Well, he was Elvis.
He was
Elvis.
yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
was
and I
Elvis.
really wanted to not enjoy him or that movie, but I kind of did. The
You
Elvis
watch?
movie.
I haven't seen Elvis yet,
I haven't either.
but I've seen like 3 things with him in it lately, and I'm like, whoa, he's really good. You know, he's really good in Dune.
Oh yeah,
and
of which that new one comes out next week.
yeah, but it is like he may be one of my new go-to actors.
I like it.
And we haven't had one in a long time.
No, we were talking about this.
Men
remember?
of Hollywood
there
are
was a
dying.
gap. It was like Timothy Chalamet and Tom Holland. It was like little tiny British kids. And it's like
Yeah, and now I think Austin Butler may be the new Man of Hollywood.
okay, I like that. I can go with that.
Yeah.
A little aside, and I know we're running.
And
late
Sydney
already, but
Sweeney is definitely my go-to actress right now.
Yep.
I think she's everybody's.
Yeah, I think she's back on up tops for sure.
She's A+ work.
Indeed. I told you I started watching the new season of Halo, the show based on the video game. The first season was an absolute train wreck. Watched the newest episode last night. Tremendous. Yep, I am all in. This is what the show should have been from the beginning. It's like instead of making a space opera with 7-foot Marines that are super soldiers, maybe lean into the fact of like brutal death, killing, awful. You know,
yeah, just go that way.
The way that this was originally meant to be.
Okay.
And
Halo.
It's the first season sucks, I'll tell you. But if you get through it, so far season 2 has been worth every last bit of it.
No, that's with what is it?
Pablo Schreiber.
Yeah, Ray Donovan's little brother, right?
Yeah. Liv Schreiber's little brother.
Yeah.
And he does a fantastic job. Even in season 1, that is the one saving grace of it. It's season 1 is just like meow. They had no idea. Somebody tried to put their fingerprint on something that has literally the lore of Halo has over 35,000 pages. And it's
Sounds like a lot.
Microsoft, when they built this with their studio, they have like an actual like library up at Microsoft. It's nuts. Like this is their baby, their IP that got Xbox up and running.
Dang.
And so, but somebody decided to take their fingerprint and be like, I'm going to do something entirely different from everything of the source material.
Yeah.
And shockingly, it failed.
Boy, Halo has range from dramatic, television show to the game and the storyline that people follow to, small children yelling a bunch of racist stuff when you play live online.
It's true.
That is like I
Brings
remember,
everybody together.
like in college when Xbox Live first started.
Oh God, those Xbox Live.
Like
parties.
you'd be sitting there and like you'd go enter this room, and I was never a big Halo guy, but like I'd be in there with my roommates and watching them play, and you just hear like this 12-year-old just start like
and bombing.
you're just what
You're
is
going, what?
First of all,
You
how
kiss your
is
mother
this?
with that mouth?
How is this child just dominating you like this? And why is he so angry? Like,
Why does
what?
why is he so good at insulting you?
Golly.
You wonder why so many little kids are a-holes at school these days.
Jeez. All right. You ready to sport? Let's sport.
Let's do it.
You can follow us on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan. We are on AM and 99.5 HD2 and also on the Odyssey app. Let's party today. We got some sports. We got a lot of NFL that we need to get to today. But where we got to start, the Blazers get the unofficial second half of the season, 28 games. The final push of the 28 games of this regular season starts tonight against the Denver Nuggets. But there's 5 more years, and what it all means next on The Fan. Hyken of the Rose Garden Report has the deets on what is a good deal here in Portland.
Good news, ladies and gentlemen.
The Portland Trailblazers have renewed their lease at Moda Center 5 more years
At minimum,
with
a bridge for another 5. So this is gonna get super legalese. But number one, everybody who gets in my mentions on Twitter worrying about the team moving, please, for the love of God, stop. Please, I am begging, stop. Please do not mention it again. Stop. It was never happening. It's not happening. It's not something the NBA has ever considered.
Might happen.
So for the love of God, stop saying, well, Jody needs to sell the team so they don't move it. It's not happening.
Well, she would never move the team. I think the fear is when she.
No, the new owner's not. The NBA is not allowing it to be moved.
I know, but I think the fear that a lot of fans have is that Jody Allen, Burkhold, Vulcan, they will just sell to the highest bidder, and that highest bidder, regardless of who they are, will move the team to Seattle or Vegas or wherever, and Portland's going to be left high and dry. Like that is the fear of any fan base, as small of a portion of that fan base that there is. That is the fear. But let's take what the NBA has said after the Seattle move to Oklahoma City, which is it has been a black eye on the league, and they don't want to have another one, especially with a fan base that supports the team the way they do. Pay no attention to the 49% drop in television viewers. Look at the only 1.9% drop in ticket sales in the building.
And that's what matters, is that the league and the Blazers know that the TV deal is the problem for what they have right now. And as much as they don't like it, they don't like losing money because low ratings, low ad sales, all those kind of things. This is not something that's going to impact the team long term.
And so what we have here is we have extended the lease out at Moda for the Blazers for an additional 5 more years. But as you said, it's a bridge to more.
It is a bridge to more. Number one, they have a 5-year option on top of that. But this is an addendum to the original lease that was signed in 1995, going into the 96 season for a 30-year lease. That lease expires in October of 2025, so we're a little bit more than a year away from that. What that also called for was a 10-year gap window following, or a 10-year bridge lease twice on top of that. This allows for, instead of a 10-year deal, this allows for 5 years at minimum, with the hope and continued work between the city, the county, and the Trailblazers to secure another long-term lease that doesn't have to go out 5 more years.
That's right.
Okay. What does this mean? Okay, here's what's taking place. The lease a new long-term lease will continue to be worked on by the Trailblazers Trust. That's Jody Allen Burkhold, as well as Blazers president Dwayne Hankins. What is happening is Moda Center, which was bought and paid for by Paul Allen, is being sold to the city of Portland for $1.
$1.
That transfer is a show of good faith because the building is worth something, right?
Okay. Yes.
They're also selling at market rate the piece of land that's still underneath that the Blazers do own, because otherwise the city owns everything else. The parking lots, Veterans Memorial Coliseum, essentially the entire property will now be under city ownership.
Whoa.
The Blazers will manage it.
Okay. So the Blazers still will get ticket sales, they'll get concert sales, concert, Blazer games, all that stuff.
And on that note,
they will operate
as they have.
Yeah.
The difference in the change here, and part of the reason why Moda Center is now being sold to the city for $1, is the taxes from parking and the taxes from ticket sales will now be turned around and used as reinvestment into Moda, which the city now owns. It's politically more expedient and more ready, let's put it that way, for the city to say, we're investing in something that is ours. Whereas they could sell the building, if when the Blazers get sold, if the city wanted to, they could sell the building to the new owner and make everything minus $1 off of it.
There you go.
Okay, so that's part of it. But also, with the reinvestment not going to ownership, that's something that's an easier pill to swallow politically. And for those wondering, no, it's not every penny is coming from those taxes. There's a cap on this. Only 50%. Only 50% of the revenue raised can be for.
So 50 cents on the dollar will go to any of the taxes that go towards anything at Moda, your tickets, your all that stuff.
Parking, everything else.
Parking.
And it's capped wholly at 50% contribution overall. The Blazers, the Jody Allen or the Allen Trust or Allen Estate will cover the rest.
Wait, so we got a billionaire owner actually working with the city and not policing it?
Weird.
Seems interesting. But I think that the big thing, what excites me in all of this is that there's also a plan laid out within this to create that entertainment district surrounding the Rose Quarter
Yes.
that I think is we all know it's long overdue. When you go to Moda Center, it's awful. It's awful that there aren't restaurants, shops, places to go, bars to go to before you go to a concert or a game, because every other place in modern sports arenas, they have that. Like, this is so outdated.
Yes.
I mean, the
It's a
Blazers are
it's a
basically
30-year-old arena.
Arco Arena out in the middle of a cow pasture in Sacramento before they got the Golden One Center. There's nowhere really that close to go to. So there is more investment around the Portland Trail Blazers, not just staying in Moda for 5 more years.
Yeah, there's significantly more, and because we're kind of up against it here, and there's still a lot more to talk about with what else is happening around the arena.
Okay, but what does it mean also for the sale of the team that a lot of people want to see?
This does check a box.
That's after Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Stanford's. This classic American steakhouse has exactly what you've been craving. Visit them in Clackamas, Tanasbourne, or online at stanfords.com. First on The Fan, the second half of the Trailblazers season picks up tonight as they host the Denver Nuggets. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. The Blazers are 9.5-point underdogs. Scoot Henderson out with a left adductor strain. Portland 15-39 on the season. That's the 5th worst record in the association. The Cavaliers at the 76ers starts ESPN's doubleheader at 4:30. That's followed by Damian Lillard and the Bucks at the Timberwolves on the College Hard Court after a much-needed win on the farm last night over Stanford. Oregon men's basketball at Cal tomorrow. Coverage right here on The Fan starts at 3:30, tip at 4 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reporting the Saints have reworked quarterback Derek Carr's contract in a move that is expected to give the team around $23 million in cap relief. And ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Dolphins releasing linebacker Emmanuel Ogbah, creating nearly $14 million in cap space. Ogbah had signed a 4-year, $65 million deal ahead of the 2022 season. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rush, the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The original home of the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays 9 to noon, 1080 The Fan.
Portland buys Moda Center for $1 from the Portland Trailblazers.
I want my $2. I could buy 2
with the
Modas.
understanding of a commitment on any taxes for ticket sales, parking, all that stuff. They go 50 cents on every dollar goes to renovating Moda Center and the surrounding area of the Rose Quarter. And also, we didn't talk about this, but Heiken does a good job of outlining this in the Rose Garden report. There's also a little nugget in there about protecting the city moving forward to where if the Blazers ever move out of Moda Center,
They got to pay.
if they sell the team to somebody else who moves the team, it is written in the contract they have to pay the city back 100% of any dime that is going towards any renovations or any money put in. They have to pay for that building. If you want to buy the team and say, hey, we don't have to buy the building too, we're just going to buy the team and move it.
Nope.
You have any money that is put in has to be repaid
At 100%.
at 100%. Every single cent.
So think about this, what they want to do here, and where we're kind of going with this. The big implication here is beyond the Moda Center, and this is something I've talked to Dwayne Hankins about this. This is something that he is, since he took this job, has been championing. Is they have got to do something with the area around Moda. There's nothing there. The only time there was is when we were younger. Back in the day, you could do Kachina Kachina.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go see a fight live before the game, you could go down and go to Kachina Kachina
That's right.
and watch probably 15 people get in a fight, just hammered drunk, before the game, and then go watch the Blazers basketball, which decent people watching.
There you
I'm
go.
not going to lie. But there's nothing to do around that area. Everything is closed. They've got the grain silos on the waterfront. The Portland Public Schools building is vacated. There's just nothing down there. There's no food. There's no entertainment. There's nothing. It's just the max line on both sides. Here comes the Albina Vision Trust, which is investing in over $1 billion in the region and is working with the Trailblazers directly because they want to reinvest in that neighborhood because it is decrepit and there's nothing there. And you've just seen flight, business and personal, and they've got to do something there. And this is where the taxes and the money going back into the community, as far as the development there, matters because it's going to be a significant investment because they're going to tear that place up and they're going to make it an entertainment district. Heiken highlights it here where they talk about how this is going to be like Jurassic Park or the Deer District for the Raptors and the Bucks. And if you haven't seen those, Google them and go watch a quick video of what those teams look like in the playoffs.
Or go to any NBA arena. Dallas has a really good one out next to their arena as well, where the ESPN radio studios are. They're in like that little entertainment district, and it's really cool. It's really cool.
It's where communities come together, man, and it's awesome. And that's before that's in like the big playoff atmospheres. But just on a day to day, like going to games or going to concerts or going to shows or whatever it is, like there's just nothing to do, and so they need to fix that, and they need to invest in that neighborhood. And this is where the part of this is key. As of last week, the Albina Vision Trust secured the Portland Public Schools building that has been at the center of all of this for 15 years.
It's been a big hurdle because it's a big chunk of land, and like there was a time where Paul Allen was trying to swoop up all those properties around there.
Everything around.
And there were two major hurdles. One, the PPS building. Two, the grain elevators right there next to the steel bridge. That one's not going away.
He's
PPS
not relenting.
Well, apparently it's a ridiculous amount of goods that travel up and down the river that stop right there. Good cash cow for
Sure.
them. Good cash cow for them. And at any time they say we want to sell it, they can sell it for a pretty penny.
Like that.
You know, but
It's waterfront property next to the arena.
right,
It's not decreasing in value anytime soon.
right now they're sitting pretty on that piece of land. But this is good news for everybody that has always said, hey, we need something down there. Not just near Moda Center, but something on the east side that people will flock to.
Yes.
You know, go across the river and keep people on the other side of the river. I mean, that's a huge one. And so I think that everything that is kind of laid out in this plan, on the surface, it probably worried some folks because you go, selling the arena for $1, so they're not connected to that. They can just try to get no. There's a lot that is woven into this 5-year deal
It's
or
rooting
extension
the Blazers there.
that is saying it's going to make it exponentially harder for any other person to try and get this team out of Portland, which I think is great. And then also, it's helping add to the community that surrounds Moda Center, which is in dire need of upgrades.
And so this is, again, weaving this all together. For all the people who are, Jody Allen needs to sell to Phil Knight. Number one, look, I would like to see the ownership stuff resolved, regardless
I would not be
of who.
against that.
The flip side of this is Phil Knight's what, 90?
Yeah.
So
Or
we're
88, 89.
we're going through this again very soon.
But it was, what was it? Phil Knight and that Dodgers bro.
Yes.
He's 85.
So 85.
Phil's
so,
85.
So
Yeah, turning 86 in a couple days.
okay, so
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
Tomorrow.
Perfect timing.
Happy birthday, Uncle Phil.
Smoleninsky is the guy who did
That's right.
the Dodgers bro who redid the land around USC, which is what they're trying to do here at Moda. But they have the $400 million. Phil Knight has a $400 million investment in what they have called their 1803 project. The manager of said project is also on the board for the Albina Vision Trust.
Nope.
The Albina Vision Trust is working directly hand in hand with the Trailblazers. Does this mean that they're selling to Phil Knight? No.
Yes. Oh.
Oh.
Damn.
But does it mean that they are working hand in hand on the same vision of heading towards something along those lines? Maybe.
Well, they're actually playing nice for
Nice-ish,
the first,
at least
for the
on,
first time.
on this part. And this is the thing, like, for everybody who wants this to happen, Phil Knight pissed off the Jody Allen estate. They ran a hit piece in the New York Post and then had a senator do the same thing.
There was a little bit of bad blood before that, too.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what exacerbated this. Now, if Phil Knight wants to say, here's a $4 billion check, cut it and get out, cool. That probably gets done. But for all of the Jody needs to sell, Phil needs to pay.
And it still feels everybody circled 2024, 2025 for when it was
This summer,
2 parts. The untangling of Paul Allen's estate.
which this is part of. Getting the lease deal done is part of that.
The other part was strike while the iron's hot when the NBA gets a new television contract
And
and the
we're
valuations go up even
Supposed
more.
to hear about that this summer.
Okay.
Now, even though the deal won't take place until next year, after next year, this is typically when you hear about deals getting done.
Boy, that feels like a perfect time for Jody Vulcans to take a step back from the franchise and say, new ownership. We've untangled the S Storm financially.
We've secured the building and the team here.
Well, with what Neil O'Shea did to
Mhm.
the contracts and the operations
The
moving
books are
forward.
clean.
Books would be clean. There's going to be young talent on the roster. An influx of money is going to be coming through the new TV deal for a new owner to pay a competent and competitive roster, and everything is lined up.
There's a G
on
League team in
their
place
side.
now. They're putting investment in the area around. It's like almost like for all of the people that want her gone. And again, this is not me defending and saying she's the best owner ever. But if you look around, they've done everything that needed to be done when Paul was still alive.
And you don't have to like her for the dino bones or the making her bodyguards wear Speedos or whatever that was. But here's the deal is that she is fulfilling the wishes of her late brother,
Mhm.
which he never wanted this team to ever leave
No.
Portland.
No.
And we're seeing that kind of come to fruition. And we knew that they were going to put a bow on this thing eventually. And these are steps that could lead to that. Hell, she could sit there and say, nah, I still want to keep the team. It's going to piss off a lot of people,
Also, she would have to buy the team.
but there are there's so many other organizations, not just in the NBA, but across professional sports that you can point at and say they are more poorly mismanaged than the Portland Trailblazers.
And the thing is,
are.
I don't think from an ownership standpoint that what they have done is mismanaging.
And they're doing a lot that is no from ownership.
No.
No. From their former front office. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For does this rebuild actually succeed? And does the vision of Joe Cronin come to fruition? To TBD.
Yeah.
And you can have your gripes with that, but there was a mess that Neil O'Shea left and it's still being, untangled.
They made a decision on a path. Whether or not that path turns out,
And that's basketball operations,
Yes.
right? From the ownership side, they're spending money on a G League team.
They're spending money on a
There's-
roster.
They're taking the steps to improve the fan experience at Moda Center and the area around it by giving it to the city, which that's my biggest concern is we've seen the city of Portland screw stuff up
Oh, God.
at
Regularly.
every turn.
Yes.
And now it's like, but Jody Allen can now say, this one wasn't on me. You can go and you can blame your city council and your mayor moving forward. But all signs point to this being a positive progress moving forward for the Blazers.
Yes. Overall, new renovations at Moda and around Moda, investment in the area, locking the team in, hopefully long-term going forward, and just a much more solid base for the organization.
All right. You don't like it? Get out. Dilly dilly. Next on the Fan. We've been talking a lot about coaches getting all upset in the world of college football. And I paraphrased this quote, but former Oregon offensive coordinator, current Arizona State head coach Kenny Dillingham, he went on Arizona Sports Radio.
What in the Dillingham?
Dilly. And he dropped something that I think this is the future of college football. This is why we're going to see the Nick Sabans, the old curmudgeon-y guys, phasing out of college football rapidly and moving into this new era. Or you don't even have to be old. You could be the defense coordinator for the damn Green Bay Packers, who left Boston College, was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. You could be Chip Kelly. Go and take offensive coordinator job at Ohio State.
I just want to coach football.
But Kenny Dillingham is the new wave in the new era of college football coaches. This is what he had to say about it.
I mean, at the end of the day, I joke around, but you know how many people want my job? People want my assistant coaches' jobs and my analyst jobs and the QB and the GA's jobs. So don't complain about what we do. You're blessed. There's a lot of negative of it, yes. But do you know how many people want to football coach? I literally spent 9 years of my life doing anything to become a coffee boy. So don't give me the, oh, it's hard to be a college coach right now. Yeah, it's hard. Then quit.
That's fantastic.
Like, that's how I look at it.
I love that. I think Kenny Dillingham, he is what young football coaches should be in college football. He's just saying, dude, if you don't like NIL, if you want to bitch about the transfer portal, get out of the game then.
Do you think he?
And we're seeing it happen.
Do you think he had a picture of Dabo in front of him while he said it?
He should have.
Because I mean, that's who he's talking about.
He's talking about, the Georgia State head coach who took the tight ends job at South Carolina. He's talking to Chip Kelly. He's talking to all these guys.
I don't think he's talking to Chip though, because I don't think Chip wants out. I think Chip just wants to do something.
Well, he wants to be able to compete too.
That part of it. I think he wants to, because I think Chip is not against NIL. He is against the school that he was working for having their head up their backside with regards to NIL
and their financials
and the fact that they're poor.
Yeah, even though they're really not.
Their athletic department is poor.
It's crazy.
Yes,
but this is when you look at head coaches and what you need to be now. The idea and the motivations behind these guys are you get into the game to be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to find this more moving forward than we ever have before, is you will see coordinators who just want to stay coordinators because they don't want to deal with everything else. Recruiting, they can do. They're okay with that because
that's part of the gig.
Everybody says recruiting's all nothing about anything more than NIL now. There's a lot more. It's relationship building.
Yes.
Because even if you lose out on a kid to NIL, when that falls through at his previous place, you want to be positioned because it will be about relationships. And then it will also be about, all right, do you have a collective? Do you have the money to supplement that NIL as well?
The vast majority of those kids that end up entering the transfer portal after NIL falls through end up transferring to a school that they have a pre-existing relationship with.
But coordinators and position coaches, they can recruit as normal.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be those guys. And that's why I do believe we're going to see a smaller pool of guys who want that. They want that smoke of NIL and being a head coach and everything that goes with being a head coach in college football now. And to have young guys like Dillingham, who I know a lot of people are going to be like, what has he done? Dude had to play a running back at quarterback for 3 weeks this past season. He is the right mindset and the right mentality for the future of what a college head coach will look like. Dan Lanning is also 100% that. And we will see kind of what this new era leads to. But you are seeing now, guys, just say, if you're going to complain about it, just get out, just leave, just quit, because this is what college football is now. And if you want to say how hard it is, you're really forgetting how hard it was for you even to get your foot in the door and get into the industry. And I'm for it, man.
No,
I like Kenny Dillingham.
I like the way that these coaches are tackling it because number one, it puts them at the forefront of like, hey, I want the smoke, in a sense. But it's also, I think it's good to have these clear lines of demarcation. We talk about this in the NFL where some guys are just better as coordinators. That's okay. Making this. This is going to sound so terrible. I don't care. There's a sense of like masculinity around like if you have to be a head coach, you're settling if you're not. And it's like somehow you're a disappointment if you're not a head coach and you're just staying, like you're settling. It's like maybe you're just not a head coach and you're a great coordinator. And that's okay. There's like, and being open to and accepting that and like being in a role that you excel at. I think this, in a weird, twisted way, this kind of makes that happen, or at least accelerates that process a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I like Kenny Dillingham.
I do too.
He's full Looney Tunes sometimes.
Yes,
so. He sounds like
that.
a crazy man.
Yes,
he sounds like a real live crazy man.
He's the kind of coach that I would want to play for. Absolutely.
All right. I thought that was a little fun piece of audio from the Arizona State head coach who's still like 34 years old.
Yeah, still a baby.
All right, 30 million reasons why Justin Jefferson is among the happiest people in the NFL. Next on The Fan. Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Friday. Like, no more football Fridays, but we've got...
Does that break you?
No.
Okay.
No. It's just the countdown to when football Fridays start again.
But we got Yacht Rock Fridays to fill the void until then.
That's right.
It's true. We also we have football back on Monday anyways.
What?
Combine.
Yeah, we
Underwear
do.
Olympics, baby.
Combine starting back up. It's draft season. Right now I saw a little pop-up there. Matt Miller, ESPN, he has Bo Nix behind J.J. McCarthy in his quarterback ratings. Ooh.
I pray to God, as much as I'm sitting here as a Raiders fan, please don't send Justin Fields here. Please don't send Justin Fields here. I'm also praying, please don't send J.J. McCarthy here. Please don't send J.J. McCarthy here.
Coming up next.
Oh, God, no. Please, no.
The NFL got a little bump today, though. A record increase in their salary cap.
How much did they get, Dusty?
$30 million more per team. $30 million per team. So the NFL salary
Buddy.
cap is going to be $255 million in 2024. If you look at the behemoth that the NFL has become, and there's a couple of reasons why. One, media rights have ballooned, and that is one part of it. The other part is that during COVID, they started hoarding a little bit more cash and holding on to it, not knowing what the future would be. Now they have these deferred payments that they're distributing to the league. But what ultimately this means is that the NFL is distributing $10.5 billion. $10.5 billion to its players, which means $21 billion is what the league is operating at. That's crazy.
Remember last year I was like, hey, in 2 years we're going to see the cap go to like probably 400 million. It's happening.
Well, we are at it's not getting that big yet. 400 million is still, I mean, that's 150. It's not going to be a sharp rise next year. 13% is what it rose this year. But you have to understand that they did rework television deals. They got more money out of CBS. They got more money out of Disney.
And they're getting record ratings right now.
But what you have is this also, it's actually $330 million per team that was distributed, because $74 million is wrapped up in player bonuses and then retired player benefits as well. So it's the numbers are staggering with what the NFL is putting out there.
Printing money.
If you go back just 10 years,
was it like 120?
The salary cap was $133 million. They've almost doubled their salary cap in a decade.
That's insane.
That
level of growth, Dusty, is absolutely bonkers.
But to put it into perspective of what they were at, if you go back 15 years ago, it was $123 million. If you go in 2009, it was $123 million. So from 2009 to 2014, it jumped only $10 million. It actually went down in 2011 and 2012 because that's when their new CBA kicked in, because they had the uncapped year in 2010.
Oh, that's right.
And so it went
so
down.
You had kind of the weird false spike.
And then it started climbing back up. But in the last 10 years, you've gone up by at least, $10 million each of the first 3 years. Then you went up 12, then you went up 10, then 11, then 10, and then you went back down in 2021, COVID. Went up in 2022 to $208 million. You're looking at $28 million in salary cap growth $48 million in salary cap growth from 2 years ago.
And the
2 years.
The big part of this is, number one, yes, the new deal. But this is the rise that was expected pre-COVID. COVID derailed a lot of this, and what you're seeing now is what was kind of delayed. There is, and we've talked about this a little bit as it pertains to us personally here in this industry. There is a reinvestment in sports that we have not seen financially in 15 years. The streaming partners, the TV deals, the way that this is going, this looks like a second gold rush in sports media, where 7-8 years ago, we were kind of 2014, 15, we were like, where are things heading? We're not sure about this. And you saw major cutbacks.
Yeah, they always were saying that it was going to keep growing. The cutbacks that we've seen is actually more recently with all of the college deals that were handed out, because you saw that's why we have the Pac-12 no longer existing after this year's, because they were like, we don't have enough money to go around.
The additional part of this, though, is the supporting apparatus: TV, radio, shoulder programming, streaming shoulder programming, all Twitch, YouTube, all of those things.
Absolutely becoming viable.
There's sectionality. Everybody wanted to try to split up the pie. Everybody's there was. If you take the pie, the unfortunate, sale and chopping block of Sports Illustrated, because they were like, well, it's not viable anymore. No, it is viable. It's just that you needed to adjust and not focus on social media. And now you're seeing that the smarter companies, Fox, ESPN, Warner Brothers, instead of having a peeing contest in the corner and trying to fight over a little piece of pie, if we come together on this, everybody can eat from the same trough. And that's what it is. It's pigs in the pen. And if everybody just shuts up about it and accepts that, hey, sometimes they're going to get a little bit more today. Tomorrow you might get a little bit more. It depends on where it falls. And that's the thing, is that there's more openness and more willingness to this. And that's why you're going to see the growth in sports, with NFL leading the way. These numbers, everybody keeps saying, well, there's going to be a limit to this. There's going to be a limit to this. Eventually, but we're nowhere near it.
We're not. The cap isn't there yet, but you're having to find more in creative ways, because the TV companies, I mean, we've seen all the cuts that every one of these major companies has had, because they need to feed the beast, which is live programming here. And the only live programming is sports, right?
And it's crushing. And as much as you can try to set appointment, I think appointment viewing outside of sports is done. You may get a Game of Thrones every now and then. That was the last show to me that had appointment viewing. And guess what? They didn't have commercials.
That's the big issue. I can't remember the last time. And I know there's a lot of people that like The Bachelor, reality TV, and those kind.
But that also doesn't cross all markets. But sports crosses all markets, all demos.
And this is where sports are way different. Is that you could still DVR The Bachelor and you could watch Bachelor. Like, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But live sports, you want to see those live. And there's also another layer to this, and how the NFL. We're talking about the adaptations that networks are going through. Well, the NFL is doing it too. And if you are not happy with, your team losing home games and having to go and play in Sao Paulo, Brazil, or going over to Munich, Germany to play a game, or having those London series games, the NFL's vision is to make the NFL a global game, because if they do tap out the domestic market on their television deals, they're doing a really good job of positioning themselves globally to become popular and gain traction on the international level, which it will never catch up to what it is in the United States. But what they're doing in Europe right now, it's working in small little pushes, and they're not trying to bombard, any individual country right now.
NFL Europe.
They're slowly but surely gauging where the popularity is. They're seeing that the sport is growing. They're pumping money overseas, and that's how they're going to try to continue to be the biggest sport in America. And it's going to work.
The colonizers of sports.
Yeah, because honestly, that's how they're viewing staying on top in the United States is becoming popular elsewhere. The NBA has done a phenomenal job of it. And we're starting to see, now everybody's bitching about, hey, why aren't there any American stars? Well, it's because you made the game a global game.
Yes. You made, basketball is the most played sport in this country now, in the U.S.
Really?
Yes, it has surpassed soccer. Basketball is the most played sport now. And that is a big part of the youth effort, but also the globalization effort, in that every community is about basketball. And take a look at the NBA right now. Who are your MVP candidates?
There's Jokic.
International.
Giannis.
International.
Luka.
International. Shea. International. He's Canadian.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know what else is really damn happy about this? Justin Jefferson. That $30 million bump.
Found a little bit of money in the couch cushions.
As a guy who's been to 2 Pro Bowls and you got a 5th-year option looming, and that number is going to be $21.8 million for a 2-time Pro Bowler on a 5th year option.
Oh Oh man, what does that bump?
Yeah.
What does that bump it up from? Probably like 18 to 20.
It was right around that. It
18?
was right around 18-ish. But these are massive.
Imagine finding
jumps.
$2.5 million in the couch cushions. I'd
Yeah.
like to do that.
You know who else is probably pretty happy about this,
I would
but
imagine a pass rusher.
teams are very worried about? The number for Justin Fields is not if you're a quarterback that's made 2 Pro Bowls, it's $38 million for your 5th-year option.
God. See, this is I'm out.
That's not him. He is not him. But just your playing time criteria, 25.6.
Even then.
Which for that's a start. That you'll pay that for a starting level quarterback, but for 1 year and you're gambling to see if he's
you're
the
giving
guy.
him draft capital. Yeah, man, that's
We shall
this
see.
whole the Bears are going to get a 2nd-round pick for him, man. I don't.
Kind of makes
he
Geno
will.
Smith
They
look
will.
like a bargain, though,
Well,
doesn't it?
they just restructured his deal too. They
Yeah.
converted it into a signing bonus.
Yeah.
Well, that just clears up more cap.
Yeah.
He still gets all of his money, but it just
Yeah.
clears up a little
Yeah.
bit more cap space for him, and that's great for Geno. More cash in the pocket right now.
Up front.
Yeah, he's going to get that cash in the pocket. But there are teams though that you've got some legitimate questions on what you're going to do. The Dak Prescott question is crazy because you just heard it. $38 million is for a 5th-year rookie contract quarterback. If you pick up his 5th-year option on a first-round quarterback, it's $38 million. What you do? What Joel Corey, who does a great job of breaking down salary cap stuff on Twitter. He's a former agent, and he's a salary cap expert for the NFL. He dropped something on Dak Prescott that I was floored by. We'll get to that next. Danny and Dusty on The Fan.
The Fan invites you.
It's funny that we see these $30 million spike in the salary cap, 13% raise in the salary cap from 2024 to 2025, which, if you're wondering, that's a record. That's a record growth. Actually, not a record growth percentage-wise, but 30 million is the record. The highest percentage-wise the cap has jumped was 2006 when it jumped 19%, and then 1998. So this century, it's the second highest, but 1998 it was a 26.8% jump. But this is a massive boom for the NFL. But as we're seeing all of this, now you're seeing cap casualties.
And there are this is the NFL and the NBA. Both sports are kind of going through this where the skill curves early on in careers is significantly higher. Guys are coming in better, but both leagues are getting so much younger. Because if you look at the guys that are getting cut right now, if you were 29 or older, you were on the chopping block. That is the cutoff now.
With a $255,400,000 salary cap in the NFL this year. As of today, you have 7 teams working in the red right now. They are the Dallas Cowboys, $3 million over the cap. Cleveland Browns, $7 million over the cap. Denver Broncos, $13 million over the cap. The Chargers are $21 million over the cap. Dolphins, 24. Saints, $38 million over the cap. And the Buffalo Bills, folks, are $41.3 million over the salary cap. So you're seeing Emmanuel Ogbah from Miami, outside linebacker, who they gave a big fat contract to after he had back-to-back 9 sack seasons. He gone. He was cut. Xavier Howard, cornerback, he gone. He's cut today.
Interesting enough, both of them 30 years old.
30 years old. No way.
Ding, 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 ding.
You're going to see a lot of teams making tough decisions in the next couple of days.
And they're sorting what they're doing is they're going to the Excel sheet, sorting by salary, sorting by age.
And
that's where they're starting.
Like, here's the deal, though. Like the Chargers, you have to choose between like Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa
or Mike Williams.
Mike Williams is
again.
He's good as
But again,
gone.
Khalil, 33. He's just, I don't know if you've seen Khalil Mack lately, a freak of nature.
Well, he had a career high in sacks. He had 17 sacks this year.
17 and a half.
And then you have Bosa, who's paid very handsomely,
but also
hurt,
injury prone
a lot. But and then you had the Saints rework Derek Carr's deal today.
Save them $23 million.
They are that team.
Their cap sheet is a disaster. Kamara might be a cap casualty, and he's 28, but again, he'll be 29.
And this is like they are in such just for mediocrity too. Like they're not going to be good anytime soon. They're just paying a lot of money to a lot of guys that you're going, huh?
Yeah.
And they're all aging out. And Saints are. I'm selling on Saints right now, but this is why you're seeing Denver floating the idea of trading Russell Wilson.
Just get it over with, because look,
Pittsburgh Steelers seem to be the hot name for Russ.
I don't wish that up on the Steelers. I always have a soft spot for the Steelers because I love Mike Tomlin, but
Mike Tomlin could eat Russ alive.
Oh God, you chew him up, spit him out. But for the look, I want to see the Broncos in hell. That's selfishly, but to me, and we've talked about this, the whole idea of like if they swapped Russ for Kyler, because you're not going to get anything good out of this, because the dead money you are going to have is real, but if you just get it over with, it just means that the next 2 years you're screwed.
Okay. Here's the deal, though, that you're looking at, and this pertains to the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, which I was talking about before we went to break. We mentioned they are one of the 7 teams that is over the cap right now. Joel Corey, who does a phenomenal job breaking down the NFL salary cap. If you don't know, right now, Dak Prescott's deal, he's on the books for $59.4 million in 2024. And then there are void years in 2025 and 2026. So this is what Joel Corey says the Dallas Cowboys can do. He has conversion rights in his contract where Dallas could create about $22 million in cap room by turning $33 million of his $34 million in 2024 salary into a signing bonus.
And then spreading it out.
And then you prorate that in 2025 and 2026 in those void years. Here's the catch.
And boy, is it a catch.
They are over the cap right now. And this creates a lot of room for them to improve their roster.
And Jerry Jones has been adamant about them not holding back this year. The cap does not matter this year. And so whatever they can do to make a run, this is what they're going to do.
If they are to go down that road with Dak Prescott,
And it's a dark, dark road.
they would have $58.32 million in dead money in 2025
Buddy.
when Dak Prescott is a free agent and could sign elsewhere.
So they would be dead money without a quarterback to count.
And you would have, so what you're doing in all of this, if you do these conversions, you have to operate under the assumption Dak Prescott's your quarterback moving forward.
Yeah.
And he will sign another long-term deal.
Buddy, he's got him bent over a barrel. On the Russell Wilson side of this,
Yikes.
I wanted to make sure I had the numbers before I said them out
And
loud.
if you don't know what dead money is, it's like we talked about this with when Tom Brady and Drew Brees reworked their contracts over several years.
This is the paying
It
the
was
piper.
kicking the can down the road. You kick the can down the road, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with a big bill to foot. And by the way, Drew Brees is not on that dead cap money for the New
He
Orleans
fell off
Saints anymore.
finally.
This is what kicking the can down the road does to you.
This is the Andrew Nicholson effect, but
Nelly.
infinitely more.
Okay.
So the Russell Wilson side of this,
Andrew Nicholson. Still paying.
still there last year.
Hey, I mean, at least Anderson Varejau's gone.
That
Anderson Varejau's finally gone, right?
Did it fall off?
Okay.
Now you've got me looking, and I'm going to look real quick because I that one haunted my nightmares when I was doing cap sheet stuff, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" And Anderson is off. Nicholson's still there, and I believe that this is the last year.
Good.
Thankfully, the Russell Wilson one. Okay, if they release him with a post June 1 designation, they have a $35 million dead cap hit.
Better
This
than
year.
58.
But that would also mean carrying into next year, the remainder of his dead cap would total $85 million.
That's buzz.
So they have a $45 million more in dead cap to eat.
Yeah, that's
So I was
not
just saying,
good.
It would be 2 years of hell,
If
but
they
you-
just release him.
but you'd just be done with it.
Boy.
That's why if you're going to trade him, you need to trade for another bad deal, i.e. Kyler Murray.
But it doesn't have to be dollar for dollar in the
No,
NFL.
But
they-
you're not going to get the value because of what the cap hits would be
if
on
you
those moves.
if you trade him pre June 1st, if you trade him, they will lose $32 million against the cap.
Yes.
If you trade him post June 1, and this is what they're doing with all these guys, they're like Xavier Howard was just released from the
Yes.
Dolphins with a post June 1 designation. So he can agree to a contract somewhere else. He can't sign until June.
Yes.
But they let you go free. If the Broncos even trade Russell Wilson, though, they will be hit with $40 million in dead cap this year, 49 next year. They'll lose $5 million if they trade him post June 1 this year. There's
no good option.
nothing good about his contract.
No, that's what I was saying.
There's nothing good. So it's
they
like
are
if
screwed.
they release him, if they trade him, they're stuck with him for 2 more years is when they can get an out that is reasonable.
Which is why you have to trade for another quarterback that has extended years, and you're not getting any value out of it.
I don't think you can come back and have him and Sean Payton in the same building after the disagreements and what's been said and reported about their relationship.
I want to see Kyler Murray there because I want to see this continue.
You want to see Sean Payton just try to murder quarterbacks for years?
Stuff him in lockers.
Damn. You're cold, man.
Yeah, well, I am.
That's fair.
Also, bleep the Broncos.
Ooh, salary cap increase is all because of Taylor Swift, and so are the cap casualties. That coming in on the Vancouver Ford text line.
There's a kernel.
No.
Hear me out. There is a kernel of truth to the Taylor Swift impact on the cap because they did bring in new revenue. They did. The Swifties did bring in more eyeballs. Flat out.
No, that did not affect the 3 months that Travis Kelce and
No, no,
Taylor
no, no, no,
Swift
no, no, no,
were
no.
dating did not do anything
No.
for this salary
No,
cap.
going forward for the salary cap, the new fans that those people have that group has brought in is real. Like it's measurable. It was measurable in the Super Bowl dollars.
Okay, but that does not that
no,
is
yeah,
not
yeah.
affecting the salary
That's
cap.
why I said there's a kernel of
Okay.
truth in that as far as the
If
influx
you
of
can
real,
get,
money, real money.
if you can get them, keep them around.
Which
But if we know anything about Taylor Swift, her and Travis Kelce may break up, and then or what if Travis Kelce retires, and then they're just like, all right, we're done with football
and
again.
then they're the first family of football.
They take over the Mannings.
Look, if you want the cross demo, you're getting both.
Damn straight. Taylor Swift, you need her.
Just saying. She's cash cow.
You were going to a place there where I was like, no way.
No. That's why I said
Okay.
there's a kernel of truth to
I'm with you
the
now.
increase.
I'm with you there.
All right. Speaking of kernels of truth, there's nothing but the truth when it comes to my man Rasheed Wallace was talking about the belief or the lack of belief and faith that he has in NBA announcers for our worst day on the web. But first, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on the Fan, the second half of the Trailblazers season picks up tonight as they host the Denver Nuggets. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. The Blazers are 9.5-point underdogs. Scoot Henderson out with a left adductor strain. Portland 15-39 on the season, the fifth worst mark in the league. Cavaliers at the 76ers starts ESPN's doubleheader at 4:30. That's followed by Damian Lillard and the Bucks at the Timberwolves. Over on the college hardcourt, after a much-needed win on the farm last night over Stanford, Oregon men's hoops, they are at Cal tomorrow. Coverage on the Fan starts at 3:30, tip at 4 o'clock, and can be seen on the Pac-12 network. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reporting the Saints have reworked quarterback Derek Carr's contract in a move that's expected to give the team around $23 million in cap relief. And ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Dolphins releasing linebacker Emmanuel Ogba, creating nearly $14 million in cap space. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo reports those same Dolphins will also release cornerback Xavier Howard at the start of the league year. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
You're invited to play in the first annual Fan Winter Golf Classic at X Golf Tualatin and X Golf Vancouver. Sign your threesome up at 1080thefan.com. It's time for today's worst day on the web with Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
When Rasheed Wallace talks, we need to listen. Why? Because he has gems. There's just every time he says something, whether you agree with it or not, you know he stands by it. You know he believes it. But he was asked about the current state of the game, and she took a tangent on with Tyler I.M. On his podcast of how he sees the current state of broadcasting in the NBA.
The fucking announcers, B. Talk about it. Gosh, bro. Why every announcer want to try to sound like my man Stuart Scott? He hit him with the shibble shamble. Look at that one. Yeah. Hey, man, stop that, yo. Then you got ex-coaches who be on there announcing. You could tell they trying to get back in and get a fucking job. Oh, yeah. If you see him, if he do this, and owners be like, he know what the he talking about.
Not wrong.
Rasheed is clearly very high.
It didn't work for Stan or Jeff Van Gundy, though.
Which the clips that they're playing in the background while he's talking about that are of the Van Gundys.
But I mean, none of those. Neither one
It
of those
worked for
guys.
Doc.
Doc Rivers, well, and just being a mentor to Adrian Griffin, and then taking his job 3 months later. Yikes! But the Stuart Scott thing. This is nothing new. Every announcer has a catchphrase. I mean, we all know the Shans. Rip City.
He literally coined it.
Mike Breen. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's every announcer has always had them, from Chick Hearn all the way through to, the guys Ian Eagle and Noah Eagle. Mm-hmm. Both those guys. Like every announcer has got something that they say in the NBA, and that's been historical. Like that's always been what announcers and play-by-play guys will always have. But I think what
stylistically he's everybody's trying to rip off Stuart Scott.
The one thing that he's talking, but he's like Stuart Scott in the Sports Center stuff. That was, he changed the studio. Yeah. Like and that was, Dan Patrick and Fuego.
Mm-hmm.
All of Kenny Mayne, every single guy who has hosted Sports Center, they got their catchphrases too.
How about Chris Berman? Boom,
boom, yeah, whoop. Every single guy,
bumbling, stumbling.
But this is even before that, though. You go back to the 60s and 70s, mm-hmm. where announcers that's how they related to their audiences, and how everybody knew you were listening to a Portland Trailblazers game when you heard Rip City.
I think there's certainly a
boom shakalaka from Wheels.
There's a uniqueness in calls, but I think he was mostly calling out people who aren't being true to who they are. And I'm a league pass junkie.
Mark Jackson.
I think that
there goes that bad man.
I think that was definitely somebody was implicated for sure.
He was shown in the video.
Yeah. There's like you can do what you are. Like if you listen, Ian Eagle is not out there dropping those, but he has one I will forever. Perfect example. Ian Eagle had a call where Jared Allen, when he was with the Nets, caught a lob, and it was perfect. It was very simple and subtle, but the gist of it was Allen throws it down, and it was beautiful as the fro flies.
Yeah, see,
beauty. But it was just worked in, and then it was him and
subtlety to it.
Sarah Kustok, and they brought the score 69-72. And as soon as it said 69, there was a nice. But that's like those are little that Kevin Harlan, when he does the cat getting on the field, he's at the 30, he's at the 20. Like
Harlan is he might be my favorite.
He is the best unscripted moments. Kevin Harlan is the best.
I think Kevin Harlan would be great on a Super Bowl call. Like on TV, because so many wild things happen in a Super Bowl.
Oh,
like Kevin Harlan would
be
on the field. Perfect for that.
See, for me, Kevin, he's a little over the top. He's too cartoonish. He's like a caricature of a play-by-play.
That's what I love. That's what I love about.
But he's not. He doesn't take
himself. Yes, he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Right.
That's
just
That's the joy of it. But that's the thing is, I think Rashid is highlighting on the uniqueness in being true to who you are, but both on the broadcast side and on the coaching side. Because the coaching side of this is like, well, he should have done the Tony Romoization of like, this feels like he's campaigning for a job somewhere.
I really do believe that that's why I like Calabro and Herd together, is because they are the understated. Like they have a good time. They joke back and forth, but it's a really good broadcast. And we're lucky. And I think it's not just national broadcast. She's talking about a lot of local guys, and we are very lucky here in Portland.
We
to
have
those two.
Portland, in my opinion, Portland, Minnesota, New Orleans, Brooklyn are your 4 best broadcasts in the NBA. Obviously, KC and Lamar with Brooke, and then you've got Pranica, you've got Joel Myers and Brendan Knight.
Pranica also formerly of Portland.
Yes, but you've got, and then Ian Eagle and Sarah Kustok, and then you've got the Warriors broadcast, which is universally perceived as the worst, which is a bummer because I love Kalena Azubuike, but and then you've got the Suns, the Nuggets, and the Spurs.
The Suns who
my feelings.
Suns who get into arguments with you on Twitter.
Look, I may or may not have been a couple of pain pills deep, and should have been off social media right after a surgery. And while I still fully believe in what I said, I should not have said it publicly, and I would not have said it publicly had I been entirely normal.
I think we need to put Sheed on a broadcast with this guy.
Hello, everyone. The Indiana Pacers are looking for a measure of revenge tonight. Let's check out the highlights. Reggie Miller's looking good. Later, he gets the rebound, passes it to the man, shoots it, and boom goes the dynamite.
What is that from?
It's Boom Goes the Dynamite guy. Ball State University.
Oh my God!
You never heard Boom Goes the Dynamite?
I've heard the Boom Goes the Dynamite, but I had never heard the lead up to it.
Oh, you need to watch the video. The video's even better.
That is incredible.
It wasn't like an actual broadcast, right? Like he was trying to follow along and make his own like real tape.
It was on
if I
like
remember
the
correctly.
student TV.
Okay.
It was televised at Ball State
But
University.
so this isn't like an SNL skit.
No, it was
Because that was like
real.
Chance the Rapper going, "Let's do that hockey."
I wonder where Boom Goes the Dynamite guy is now.
That is tremendous.
Isn't that great?
Are you kidding me? I would zoot it out Rasheed Wallace with that kid.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? How old is that?
Oh, that's
really
That's
old.
gotta be at least a decade.
2005.
oh, it's that old?
2005.
Wow.
Yep. During his freshman year, it's let's see here. Brian Collins is his name. That's a very like inconspicuous name. Like you
Yeah.
can get away with being Brian Collins and nobody's gonna know, but then they're gonna see you and go, "Hey,
Hey, it's
I
the
know
Boom
you.
Goes the
You're the Boom
Dynamite.
Goes the Dynamite guy. Do it. Do the Boom Goes the Dynamite thing." That was during his freshman year. God,
And boom goes Dynamite.
I think he realized now he's probably a production guy. You know?
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I wonder what he's doing now.
I'm gonna bring him on Jack Ramsey or something. Let's do a watch party.
Ooh, he coined the phrase while playing the video game Super Mario Kart with his roommates in college.
Boom goes the Dynamite. I hope he says it deadpan.
That's
too.
a red turtle shell.
Oh, no,
he
no.
shoots that. He's like, and boom goes the dynamite.
I want it to be the green shell because you gotta have the accuracy. The red shell's just a dunk. Come on
This
now.
is great.
Oh man.
See, the green shells I always just held behind me and would fire it backwards
I mean, that's
when I knew I had somebody behind me.
He dropped that little turd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you disappoint me, Jeff Rust.
Hey,
But if you're
gotta
dropping
keep
it
the
behind
number-
you, dropping it behind you means you're not in last.
right?
So there you go.
Oh, okay. So like he lives in Waco, Texas now. So he's like the 15th craziest person on his block.
Yeah.
Basically.
Also, he's probably the only one that doesn't have dynamite.
Yeah, maybe.
And
Well, I don't
boom
want to
goes
rule
the
that.
actual dynamite.
I don't want to rule that one out.
Do you think he's just out there watching the crazies in Texas, just with a microphone, standing by himself, watching actual dynamite going off and saying, and boom goes the dynamite?
I have a feeling there's a lot fewer explosives in Waco now that Kim Mulkey and her wardrobe are gone.
Wow. Also, I was pantomiming a microphone when I have a microphone in front of me. So that's the kind of day I'm having. My day, though, still better than Johnny Manziel's. Let's check in on old Johnny and see how he's doing next year on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. There could not be better intro music to this segment. To talk about one Johnny football, Johnny Manziel. Johnny's disappeared for a little bit, but he's popping back around. And he's doing Johnny Manziel things, I think would be the a way to phrase this.
You mean shooting from the hip and just letting her rip?
Yeah, with probably a dip in.
Probably.
Shoot from the hip, let her rip with a dip.
Sure. That's about right.
Johnny football is maybe a caricature of what we think or thought college football was, but he was it. He was at the very top. He was pure, unadulterated appointment viewing, and he partied like a rock star. It was straight out of Central Casting.
I remember when he was entering his junior year or his redshirt sophomore year, the conversations about folks that would go down and like cover for national TV games and stuff like that, they didn't hide behind. They said, like, please don't say this, during the game. But our goal is just to get Johnny to Saturday.
Yeah.
Get him to Saturday. Like that was, they would go down, they'd have their meetings and be like, he's a phenomenal talent, but we don't know what's going to happen
between the weeks.
Monday through Friday. We have no idea what is going to transpire with this kid. But if we can get him to Saturday, we're going to have a chance to win the game. And that was who he was.
Which is insane to think about.
And this is the thing that is just shocking to me, is that the Cleveland Browns took him in the first round knowing that. Everybody knew around that Texas A&M program, that's who he was. And for any team to take a first round pick on him was just wild, let alone Jimmy Haslam, who, what was it, the homeless guy who said, "You Dave Manziel."
That should have been your first
Crazy.
sign. Don't do it.
Crazy.
But Jimmy was on with Mike Golick Jr. and was talking about his experience and his time at A&M and the obviously Golick Jr. is a former college football player himself and at Notre Dame. And what's that?
What?
Oh,
this is with Shannon Sharpe.
Oh, is this with Shannon Sharpe? I'm sorry.
Club Shay Shay.
Oh, it's Club Shay Shay. I'm sorry. I was looking at the other link. But with Shannon Sharpe, he's also a former NFL player, partied like an absolute rock star, complete lunatic in the best possible ways. So when you get two lunatics in the same room, this is what you get: is you get Johnny Manziel being bluntly honest about where things go.
And I ain't mad at him about it for nothing. It's the way the business worked back then.
Right.
There was a bag man. There was a bag man at LSU. There was a bag man at Bama. There was a bag man at every school around the country if you were competing for a national title. It is what it was. And it was always that way until we're into the NIL portion of everything now, the way it should be.
Dang.
Yes. There's been bag men everywhere. And it's the fact that people still don't understand this. They're like, oh, the NIL is ruining college football, blah, blah. It's just out in the open.
It is.
That's the only
board.
difference.
And this is where the people that really have a problem with NIL, it's that you don't want to acknowledge that there is a more level playing field now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that you don't know how much money changed hands in the 50 years prior to NIL happening, because it was millions upon millions of dollars every year. Now, has NIL gone to the point where these bidding wars, now that they are public, the numbers are going up? Yeah, they are going up. But when it was a sack of cash and not taxed, it was about the same, if not more.
I will continue to highlight. Lindell White used to come back to his apartment and find a bag of cash every month that was $150,000.
In that interview, Johnny Manziel said a couple of things. One of them was he lost 40 pounds due to a steady diet of Coke.
And we're not
Lord.
talking the drink.
And so he went from 210 pounds down to 170 pounds after Cleveland released him.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 months, he lost 40 pounds. Just crazy.
I was trying to lose some weight.
But he also said that his dad went to A&M's bagman and said, $3 million if you want to keep Johnny, if you want Johnny to come back. And to put that into perspective for the people that say that NIL is ruining college football, $2.7 million is what Caleb Williams made in NIL this year. He made $2.7 million. And he was the highest grossing NIL athlete in college football this year. Those numbers are a decade apart, yet they're the same, right? He wanted $3 million to come back. Caleb Williams got $2.7 million. And Johnny Manziel would have made $3 million in the current era of NIL right now, if he would have come back for another year.
Same thing with Tim Tebow. Same thing with any of those guys. That's how this stuff has been. and it's how it will always be. And it's very interesting. Now, Johnny, like you said, was there was certainly some risk involved with him, whereas with Tebow, whereas with Caleb, you didn't have that kind of risk, so to speak. Even with the sidewaysness of Kyler Murray at Oklahoma, you didn't have the risk that you had with Johnny. Those guys, they had their vices, but they weren't. You didn't have to worry about them showing up on Saturday.
I think one of the things that is Johnny Manziel was a teaching point for so many college programs around the country of
NFL too.
how you don't handle and carry yourself outside of the walls of the building. Because there's only so much, because he was at that boom of social media age starting to become, and we would see him in the Scooby-Doo costume on Halloween, plastered out of his gourd all over Twitter, because that's the era that he was playing in. And at that point, he was like really one of the first ones that was
Social
out there
media
all the
star.
time.
Yes.
Well, famous or infamous? He was infamous for his social media presence because of what the pictures that people would take of him parking like a jackass on the street, the wrong way down a one-way. And that one came out when his car got towed and his buddy was out there chasing after the tow truck driver or whatever. Like, this is when now teams took that. They took it to their players and were like, don't be this guy, because you could harm yourself and your future way more than you can benefit yourself by just being an idiot. There is a level of stupidity that every college coach expects from a portion of his roster. That's a fact. Johnny Manziel just blazed right past all of that. Habitual line stepper in that regard.
God, yes.
And they used him as a teaching tool. I wonder if Johnny Manziel were to come through the same person, the same upbringing, the same mentality right now, how different he would look if it was, somebody else's name that they were showing him and being like, dude,
don't be this.
Don't be this. Because he's a jackass, but he's also smart enough to realize that, all right, if I need to play things a little bit closer to the vest, I can. Because he's not a complete moron.
No, that's
he's just like,
and
mostly.
I think the modern example of that of that truth is, and we mentioned it yesterday, is Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers coming out of high school and going to Ohio State was the mullet jackass. It was riding high and all the videos and all the pomp and circumstance, just everywhere you heard his name was like, oh, for the love of God, are we really going to do this?
We're doing this again.
Yeah, and now he ends up at Texas a couple years later, and he's buttoned up. And look, whether he has the mole or not, he has cleaned everything up.
Yep, he's buttoned up his persona.
See, I feel like if you took collegiate Johnny Manziel and wrote him into a movie, people would be like, no, that's
it's
not
too
over the top.
Yeah,
It's too much.
He was Tweeter from Varsity Blues, but the quarterback.
But yes, yes, and Mike Evans was James Vanderbeek. Just showing up, being the steadying force. Like, as weird as that is.
I don't want your life.
Here we are. All right, speaking of faces of franchises and faces of sports, and should you kind of build around them, or would you build around them? Watching Victor Wembanyama last night, it hit me that the answer to the NBA's question of what do they do after LeBron James is sitting there hitting them right in the face. We'll discuss that and more coming up here in Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
I'm Chelsea Messenger, helping you beat
Hour number 3 on a Friday afternoon here on Danny and Dusty. We appreciate you. We love you. Whether you're listening on 1080 AM The Fan, watching along on YouTube, youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, or on twitch.com /1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thanks for joining us. You can also join us Tuesday, all day, afternoon, early afternoon, and late afternoon as the first annual 1080 The Fan golf tournament. Winter Golf Classic is taking place at both locations at X Golf, both Vancouver and Tualatin. We have 2 threesomes for the 4 p.m. round at X Golf in Tualatin, and the noon round is filling up fast. You can also choose from either the noon round or the 4 p.m. round at X Golf Vancouver. Dusty and I will both be at the Vancouver location. Isaac and Suk will be at the Tualatin location. And as a little bit of a prize pool here, the winning threesome win a foursome at this summer's 10th annual, good God, Fan Golf Classic. The last place winner, last place loser?
No, losers.
All right. The last place losers, the threesome, will receive a free lesson at X Golf.
Lehu,
The her for everybody. Do you think Ortner would get that reference? Did he watch that one yet?
No, he has not seen Ace Ventura. yet.
Okay, so
We've talked about that.
would've-
He has not seen
that
Ace
would
Ventura.
have gone over his head. All right.
Yep.
There'll be food for our golfers from Victor Rico's Mexican Food and Pearl Catering for the Urban Restaurant Group. Oh, I'm so excited for that. No way, the fat guy excited about food. Weird. All golfers will play the historic Pebble Beach course on the state-of-the-art simulator. Go to 1080thefan.com for all the information to sign your threesome up now. Again, that is Tuesday, which means we will be here Monday. We will not be in the building on Tuesday. I say that as a reminder to you, but also a reminder to myself because it would not be the first time that I showed up at this building when I was supposed to be somewhere else.
I would say it happens to all of us.
But it doesn't.
No,
I did it once.
I autopiloted here and I came in the door and I looked at our sales manager and went, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was very early and I was able to get to where I needed to go. But that happened.
Yeah, I did it on a day where we didn't have a show.
Yep, me too. I've done
I
that
showed
before.
up.
I've done
See,
that
I
before.
didn't do
Just
that.
didn't know, though.
I
Just
did-
didn't know.
You guys did save me from that once.
I showed up once and Swag was like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, I'm
What
coming
are
to-
you doing?
I'm coming to work. He's like, not today, you're not.
Damn.
I was watching NBA last night. No way. I was being a true sicko and watching Spurs Kings and not the national TV game of Lakers Warriors.
I don't blame you for that.
And then the game sucked. But also, I very much, anytime I can watch Victor Wembanyama, I am watching him because he is transcendent. He is unlike anything we have ever seen. The hype, the pomp and circumstance around him has been the most that we have seen since LeBron James, more than Zion. I mean, go down the list, more than Andrew Wiggins, more than any of those guys. And it's deserved. I'm sitting there watching the game, and I want to say just after halftime, I think it was 2 or 3 minutes into the third quarter. I looked down at the box score and I went, he's got a real chance to get a 5x5 tonight, which for those that are unaware, that means at least 5 points or 5 of 5 different counting stats. So 5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 steals, 5 blocks, 5 assists. And at that time, he was 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks short, which again, you're a ways away from, but things are progressing towards that way. The Spurs end up losing the game in the way the Spurs do. They're young and they kind of choke it away, but they get the game close. And Wembanyama finishes the game with 1 assist shy of a 5x5. He now has odds on a quadruple double this season, plus 6,000.
No way.
Yes, which I think is insane. I think he's going to get. I might go take that bet just because I think he'll get one this year. But no player in NBA history has more than one. If there's a bet out there, if somebody sees it, if somebody sees a bet out there for Victor Wembanyama getting more than 1 quadruple double in his career, send it to me because I will unabashedly take it. And that's the thing is he is doing things that no one since Wilt Chamberlain or Tungsten Armo Doyle has done. Like he is fundamentally breaking the game. And I want to say about 2 months ago, you heard this. Well, I think Chet should win Rookie of the Year because the Thunder are playing well. Every one of those arguments has disappeared. Those people have shriveled up in a manner that I could not believe because of what Vic is doing.
Well, and what he's doing is impressive. And I think one thing, though, is that, just like last night, they lost.
Yes.
And I think that is one thing that, as much as we love stars in America, we love winners. And that's going to be the big hurdle for, I think it's ridiculous that everybody's like, why? Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? Won't that sort itself out? Why is there a conversation about who the next face of the NBA
Because it got a
is?
little scary before LeBron took that mantle.
But
There,
at the
there,
same
there
time,
was a gap.
LeBron didn't take that mantle until they started winning. Because the first few years of his career, he wasn't the face of the NBA, but everybody's like, no, Wemby's going to be the face of the NBA. No, it took him winning in order for that to happen. Because if you remember, the Cavaliers were not good.
35 and 47 his rookie year. They were a bad team.
And then they were hovering around 500 in his second year. But it wasn't until his third year in the NBA where they made the playoffs. They won a playoff series. And then that's when things started snowballing. And it wasn't like this slam dunk, he's going to be the face of the league, because nobody's going to believe a face of the league if you're not good, right? If your team is not good, if when everybody's watching, which is the playoffs in the NBA, nobody's going to care unless you're there.
And the thing about this is, and people are like, well, Danny, there's already international stars in the game, or there's already stars in the game that are ready to take advantage of this mantle. Number one, the NBA and Nike, they want an American-born star. That's just because marketing purposes, all those things. I think we're reaching the point where it doesn't have to be that.
I think the NBA is a sport that
is going to
embrace a international face
superstar,
to solely market around. Major League Baseball dips their toe in it because they don't have any other options, and they don't market their stars well at all, whether foreign or domestic. It is not a league that markets their players well at all. But if you're looking at what they are doing in the players now, they wasted Mike Trout's prime. So did the Angels. But again, Mike Trout is another great example of this. Wemby could be Mike Trout if the Spurs don't get it together, which is everybody's like, he's the best player, but he's only played 3 postseason games his entire career.
But the flip side of this is the NBA, when you are the best player, you win. It just because of how few players are on the floor at the same time, your impact leads you to winning.
Spurs aren't.
Well, when we get down that road, and here's the thing. Jokic doesn't want to be the face.
No.
Giannis, because his English is broken, and because, again, both Jokic and Giannis, neither of them, you have to have the hype. You have to have the hype. You have to have the juice early. Steph is honestly the rare exception. Bird had the juice early. Magic had the juice early. Michael Jordan had the juice early. You go back, Dr. J had the juice early. All of those guys had the goods day one, right? Steph is the rare one, but he's also not the face of the league. He's the secondary face of the league.
Nobody wanted to admit it until they won.
Yes.
Jordan, same thing.
With LeBron, from the jump, it was he's going to be the mantle guy. He has the potential to do it. Even when they only won 35 games his rookie year, you went, oh, that's different. There's always been a hesitance and a reticence to take the international star and put him front and center. Wembanyama is very well spoken, even though he's French, his English is a second language. There's a hint of a French accent, but it doesn't matter anymore because he's polished, not just in his speaking, but in his marketability. He's charismatic. He's diabolical about his work ethic and how it's planned out. We remember we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, how he turns his phone off after 9:30 because that's the time when he's reading and you don't call him.
See, I think that may be the thing that holds him back, though, because every single one of those guys that you mentioned have personality.
I think he does have personality, though. It's just I don't think it's manufactured. I think it's very carefully crafted, which people don't want to say that about LeBron James or
everything is. No, everybody. That's what everybody loves to say about LeBron James. But everything is manufactured.
Even a guy like Dame, even though it's real, it's very carefully crafted. It's purposefully done. Like the endorsements that he does are purposeful. And you're seeing that already with Victor Wembanyama getting New York Times billboards for Louis Vuitton. You're seeing that in how the NBA is putting him front and center all the time. And his production and what he is doing, and I say this and I know it sounds weird. He's breaking the game. Because he is. He's breaking the game. He's breaking the geometry of the game. Talking to players off the record about him, like the fear that he puts in players defensively, the abject disgust in the best possible way that people talk about him offensively. What do you do with him? Like, I don't know how to cover this. Like, there's nobody's ever going to block his shot. You can't contest him at the rim on a lob. Like, physically, he breaks the geometry of the game. And so you have like this new, I don't even know how to conceptualize it, but the stuff that he is doing and how he is carrying it out, I think it is going to be the wrecking ball that breaks it has to be the American born guy.
And I'm here for it. I think my hesitancy on any of this is that face will emerge on its own because it will be what captures people. And I think with Wemby, if you push it too much, there will be pushback from some folks that will always be there, because right now we don't see a whole heck of a lot of the Spurs. Nobody does.
They're on NBA TV a ton.
And that is, you have to be front and center.
Mm-hmm.
And what gets you there is if the product is good overall and your team is good. I think there's also going to be the hesitancy because of, the greatest power forward to ever play the game, and Tim Duncan was in San Antonio, and he didn't want the spotlight. Nobody wanted the spotlight in San Antonio. And so there's a stigma around the franchise too, which I find really interesting, that people will be like, same old Spurs. This guy's going to be completely different in his personality and, like you said, that crafted nature of his endorsements and how he operates. It will come in time. It will come in plenty of time. I just think, like, even when you flip on First Take and you have, Shannon Sharpe saying the next face of the NBA is they're having a debate with JJ Redick, Stephen A. Smith, he went on Get Up this morning,
mm-hmm.
and he's taking the JJ Redick, putting him in a blender, pretty tough.
Oh yeah,
because he said on Get Up this morning something along the lines of, JJ Redick wants people to get smarter in the game. Like, well, you don't?
Yes. Yeah, he does.
Like, he used that as a criticism of JJ Redick, and I was like, wait, so what you want is just dumb down everybody and just yell and scream?
Go watch your NFL shows that come on after you that make their fan bases smarter.
It was the wildest criticism of a human being I've ever heard. But I was sitting there just going, that's what the criticism is? But you have Shannon Sharpe screaming, the face of the NBA needs to be married, which I don't think you need to be married to be the face of the NBA.
No.
We're trying. Jason Tatum's like, it's there for the taking. I'll take it. No, you won't. You can't give yourself a nickname. You can't give yourself the face of the NBA either.
You can't have God's swill tattooed across your back and be the face of the NBA.
Well, I mean, we have chosen one already.
No, because he got the tattoo done poorly. And it's a swill.
LeBron's is not great either.
And he has the weight of the chosen one on his back. That's why it's on his back. But you're right. He's going 50-50 on a retirement tour.
Oh my gosh. This is where I go, I think you're right. We will gravitate towards Wemby because eventually they'll win, and everybody's going to say, oh my God.
And it's different than winning like Jokic, because Jokic has won 2 MVPs. He's won a title, and he's still not the face because he doesn't want it.
Doesn't want to be.
Wemby, I think he wants it.
I just hope that it doesn't turn into he needs to go out of San Antonio.
I don't think that's going to be much like LeBron in Cleveland. Remember, LeBron didn't leave Cleveland because he needed to leave Cleveland to win. He left because things were getting exasperated and he had to go somewhere else. That's why he came back.
Things weren't getting LeBron exasperated things in Cleveland.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And Dan Gilbert went Comic Sans on the world.
Yes. But again, he still came back to Cleveland and won a title.
Yeah. Wemby's so fun though.
And look, Giannis is a face in the NBA in Milwaukee. Jokic is a face in the NBA in Denver. We don't need. It doesn't need to be LA or New York anymore. That doesn't
don't
need to
think
be the
so.
case. We are done with big market, small market as far as like being the face of somebody. Does the NBA want Wemby in New York or LA? Yes.
Here's an
Unabashedly.
here's an interesting text on the Vancouver Ford text line. What about Paulo? The Magic are significantly better, and he has personality.
And he's American born.
Paulo Banchero.
But Paolo's just nowhere near as good.
No, he's not.
Nowhere near as good. The hope, and nobody will say this out loud, but the hope of a lot of people is that Cooper Flagg is another guy because, number one, he's American born. Number two, he's white.
Well, he's going to Duke, so everybody's going to hate him.
But the branding that comes behind that is real. It's a machine. You know, you don't go to the G League Ignite and kind of fall in the background as far as the marketing stuff is concerned.
True that.
But those things all kind of factor in, and that's it's a bummer going to another sport. Cooper DeJean is not going to be at the NFL Combine.
What?
So the other great white hope, going to push his own personal combine stuff closer to the NFL.
Actually,
draft.
that one makes sense.
Be healthy.
That one makes sense.
Be healthy. It's just a bummer. The underwear Olympics are going to be missing the great white hope.
White corner going to be coming to an NFL field near you. I wonder if this has changed.
I hope he doesn't move to safety.
At one point, it was right after Jason Sehorn wrecked his knee. My roommate from college, Kellen Quick, was the last white corner in professional football.
Done in Canada, right?
He played for the Toronto Argonauts. There was not a white corner in the CFL or the NFL. And I don't know if we've had one since Sehorn in the NFL.
I don't believe so.
I'm sure Canada found another white guy to throw in at corner.
Yeah.
But he did they did the introductions. They're like, you say your name, your position, what school you went to. So he's like, Kellen Quick, Southern Oregon, play corner. And they laughed at him. And there was a guy in the front row who goes, no, seriously, what position do you play? He's like, corner. Very introduction to the new team. It's like they're just laughing. Like, no way.
It's like just seeing a dodo back in the wild. It's like, I thought these were extinct. We need to bring it back. Oh, bringing it back. The Cougs, ladies and gentlemen, the Cougs brought it back in the final seconds last night against Arizona and had an upset for the ages. We'll dive into that and more coming up here on Danny Dusty, the Fan. But it is a Friday afternoon, just at 2:30, which means it is time for the greatest game show in all of existence, Jeff Russ Awe, which means we get to transfer straight from the wonderful Yacht Rock
right into Benny Hill.
Love it.
Yes.
Without further ado, take us away, Jeff Russ.
Here we go. The Blazers 15-39 as they start the second half of the season. Let's forget the preseason 28.5 number for the over-under for right now. They've currently got a win percentage of 278. That projects to what we'll call 22.5. It was actually 22.8, but anyway.
Sure.
And there is that 7-game, 14-day road trip starting near the end of March. So here we go. The Trailblazers finish over 22.5 wins. Yes.
Or
no.
You say 22.5?
Yes.
Over.
Under.
That's projecting at their current win percentage.
Yeah, I'm gonna say over 22.5. I think they got 8 wins in them.
I have a reeling suspicion that, with things getting a little bit close between the Blazers and the Hornets and the Spurs,
they're going to sign a new player called Shutdown Brown.
Yeah, I think there may be, Jeremy Grant's back's a little dinged up. Malcolm Brogdon's elbow's a little dinged up.
Hornets won last night.
Look, the Hornets are going to win going forward. Look, Miles Bridges is a dirtbag, but he's playing out of his mind. Brandon Miller's a dude.
Slot.
And if all of a sudden you've got a chance, better capital, make the move.
Nikola Jokic had himself a nice little game last night. 10 of 10 from the field on the way to 21 points, 19 boards, 15 assists. He's now recorded a triple-double against every team he's faced, joining only LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. It was the first game in NBA history with 20 points, 15 boards, 15 assists on 100% shooting from the field. He's currently the favorite for MVP at -125. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is next at +200. Who you got for MVP, Jokic or the field?
I'm taking the field because I'm taking SGA. I think the Thunder are going to close this season with the number 1 seed, and SGA's numbers are no joke. And if the Thunder are the number 1 seed with those numbers, it's a narrative award, and you get voter fatigue, and they like new blood.
They love it. I'm going the field too because of the new blood aspect of it. And look, if the Thunder keep doing what they did like last night, they
blew the doors off.
Pistol whipped the Clips. Like they just knockout.
That game was over quickly.
The Timberwolves, currently the 1 seed in the Western Conference, but are a distant 3rd favorite to win the West. Nuggets are +240, Clippers +250. The Timberwolves +800. Then you get the Thunder at +825 and the Suns at +900. Now pay attention here. Who wins the West? A combo of either Nuggets, Clippers, or the field.
Field. I'm taking the field. As much as I still fear Denver, they are 1 injury away, and Jamal Murray is not playing for the Nuggets tonight. Basically, it's a bilateral tibia soreness, which is shin splints. And Jamal Murray is a different beast in the playoffs. But if they are not healthy and they have home court,
they're not.
I don't think they're running out of the West because they're lacking the depth. And I think as much as young as OKC is, I think they have a legitimate chance to really push this thing.
I don't. But a lot of the teams you named, I don't trust.
No, and the thing is,
don't trust them.
You don't trust the health of the Clippers, but you trust the Nuggets, so it's a safer play.
Yep.
But I think one of Minnesota or OKC can make a legitimate run.
I'm with Danny on this.
We'll head over to the East. The Celtics have a 7-game cushion over the Cavaliers at the top of the East. They are +110 to win the conference. The Bucks +300, Knicks +700, and the Cavs +900. Who wins the East? Boston or the field?
In the playoffs. Like playing in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Not the regular season.
Field.
You said Boston or the field.
Yes.
Boston or anybody else.
They've got a 7-game cushion over everybody else.
The Bucks. I think the Bucks still win the East. Yeah. I think the Bucks win the East.
Let's go over to the baseball diamond. The Dodgers started spring training with a bang yesterday, scoring early and often against the Padres. LA +180 to win the National League with the Braves at +300, Phillies +7. And then you go all the way down to +1,600 for the Cardinals, Cubbies, and Diamondbacks in a way too early call to guess. Who wins the National League? One of LA, Atlanta, and Philly, or the field?
Either LA, Atlanta, or Philly.
Yeah.
I think Dodgers are going to be loaded we know the Dodgers are loaded,
The Braves are,
but the Braves are a really damn good team.
and also
I think
Philly
the
is
Braves may
no
have won the
slouch.
damn World Series.
Let's see here. So the American League, the top is a little bit tighter. Astros and Yankees each at plus 400, Rangers plus 500, Orioles plus 650, Twins, Blue Jays, and your Seattle Mariners all at plus 900.
Not mine.
Who wins the American League? One of the Astros, Yankees, and Rangers, or the field?
Astros.
Field, I am the Baltimore Orioles have real ownership. They went out and got their ace. Corbin Burns is a dude. That team is growing up quickly.
I know people don't want to hear it. The Astros are going to be really damn good this year.
They are.
They're going to be
They
really damn good this year. If Christian Javier can hold it together a little bit longer and find more consistency, their rotation is going to be lights out. And then you add to it that they acquired Josh Hader as their closer. They're going to be damn good.
All right, that's it.
Stockpiling Milwaukee Brewers pitchers seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Tater Bernstein.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead and do it.
They've got they had a lot of them. That's why they're not
Not
as good
anymore.
That's why they're not as good anymore. Thank you, Mr. Russ.
Yeah.
And that is a perfect transition into where I wanted to go.
Didn't
with
even
this.
go off the rails.
No.
Even a little.
Wait, you want to go off the rails?
Sure.
Well, let's talk about some baseball uniforms some more because there's actually been statements on this, and I think we're going to get a change between now and opening day because, well, we just can't go on seeing what we've been seeing. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Play golf where it's always warm.
Sorry about that, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, little button press wasn't happening, so you didn't get the audio last segment. But
Yeah, I forgot to click the mouse.
It was awesome. It was award winning.
It's you can pantomime and kind of figure what we're going through. Real quick, and something that's not going to go away anytime soon because we can see through it. Major League Baseball uniforms are becoming a massive problem. We talked about it yesterday, and we shared some pictures that you could probably mark as not safe for work.
Yeah, they have to blur them out on TV.
So everybody else is playing it safe.
There was nothing actually shown. It was just, silhouettes and bulges and such.
I would call them moldings.
There we go.
You can see everything in these. Is baseball the sport that we don't actually ever really talk about the sport itself? We talk about things surrounding it.
Yeah.
Like there very rarely do you talk about baseball itself on a grand scale, because there's always something happening on the periphery that takes over what is actually happening.
Last year it was the
on the
new
field.
bases of the pitch clock and shortening of games and that situation and monitoring how that played out as opposed to
Pick your cheating scandal that baseball has always had from the onset of the game in the 1800s all the way through.
the Astros.
It's like the team that cheats is the one that everybody talks about, or the player that cheats is the one that everybody wants to talk about. And it's a sport that is just mired in controversy time and time again. And we never really talk about the sport itself. And this is the crazy thing about it, is that there's nobody ever gets out in front of anything in baseball. Ever.
No.
Ever.
And yet here's an opportunity for Rob Manfred, who has said he's leaving in 5 years, to just get out in front of this and be like, my bad, our bad, collective bad, we're going to fix this. And instead, you get this statement from baseball. The uniform pants have the same material and thickness as the uniform pants used last season.
No, they're not.
There were changes to the fabric of the jerseys, not the pants. Bro, we couldn't see through them last year.
Why do we see everybody's junk then this year?
We can see the whole starfish.
And you can see guys' jerseys tucked into their pants.
That the sheerness of the jersey underneath doesn't make it easier to see through the pants.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing a teabag before.
Now, I did share the story yesterday of in the mid 90s going to a Giants game. I think it was late 90s. Going to a Giants game, and you could see Barry Bonds' jockstrap from like the second row, but not through photos, man. Like not photos. And these are clear as day. So maybe they're just saying guys are wearing tighter pants. Is that what we're going with? But there is a big problem with Nike fanatics in Major League Baseball. And that's the thing that always sucks about Major League Baseball, is that they never highlight their game. And they don't want their game highlighted. You can't watch any clips on social media.
They control it. They will disable it. They will not let you
almost
get it out there.
immediately. And it's that sport is so backwards.
Yes.
It is just wild to me that it is as successful as it is, because they do not keep up with the times whatsoever.
They made as much money as the NBA last year.
The one thing that they do have is the most accessibility to their sport.
Yes, and they have the best streaming service imaginable.
It's
not even close.
MLB at bat is incredible.
Nobody comes close.
Outside of that, they don't get in front of anything.
No, and it's very dumb. And the one thing I love about baseball, like you're talking about on the periphery, baseball has the best jerseys.
Yeah, they're great.
They're like when you throw on a baseball jersey and go to a game, it's the right. It just feels good.
I think I've only worn a jersey to one game ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was World Series game,
Oh, okay.
and I bought the jersey at the stadium.
There you go.
But that's the only time I've ever worn a jersey to a game.
I went through a period where I still own a lot of throwback baseball jerseys. And it's just like that jersey is just the most comfortable of all of them.
I have a Kirby Puckett throwback that I never wear.
I have a Dennis
I don't think I've ever worn it.
I only baseball jersey I ever had was Oakland A's, Ricky Henderson.
I have the baby blue pullover Twins jersey.
Oh, that's a
Kirby Puckett.
Oh, that's a great one.
I got a Joe Morgan Colt 45s jersey that I've never worn. And I have my Josh Reddick Astros World Series jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a like an official game worn
Never
Ozzie
worn it.
Smith, but I had him sign it. It's in a frame now, so that one's no longer wearable. But I've
Wait,
got
you would wear a game worn jersey?
huh?
You said it was a game worn jersey. You would wear it?
No, I went and bought it.
But you would wear it?
No. I'm
Oh,
saying
you said it's no longer wearable. I was like, you wore it?
no.
I'd
Like
go wear
it was-
Babe Ruth's
it was
uniform.
no. It's no longer wearable because it's in the frame. Because I
Okay.
immediately had it framed.
I was like,
Um,
would you wear a game worn
no.
jersey?
But I've got a throwback Eckersley. I've got the
Those are great.
The throwback Cardinals Pujols. I've got a nice little collection. Maybe I'll start wearing them here.
I think that we need to start revisiting more of the baby blues in the teams that
Yeah,
fancy those.
They are
the
going
baby
hard.
blue is the one I
Yeah,
have
the
of the
Cards,
Cardinals
the Twins,
and
the
an Aussie.
Royals, the Phils. Yeah.
There isn't a bad baby blue jersey, I don't think, in sports. Is there? Oilers rocks. The Whalers rocks. Cardinals.
Well,
rocks.
UCLA's suck now.
Well, now, but not the originals.
Yeah. The originals
The
were
original
really
baby
good.
blue sports jerseys, like they have like 100% success rate.
with the saloon numbers on the old UCLA